Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we will build another SFF PC with the CoolerMaster NR200P. And this is the teal variant, by the way. Just a bit of background, I was supposed to build on the SFF mesh room for this month. However, I asked my wife, sister, and best friend on which one looks better in their opinion, mesh room or NR200P. And two of them voted for this NR200P. Go wonder who. Anyway, the package contained a tempered glass, but I will not use it as I need the mesh panel for mounting the radiator. To open the side panels, you just have to pull it from the back. No unscrewing needed. You'd see dust filters, but notice that the magnet has been disoriented, although it seems that it can be easily fixed. Inside the case is a manual which shows that there are a few options to build this in terms of GPU orientation, PSU position depending on size, and also option for SSD, pump, and hard disk drive. Anyway, notice that it has 3 PCIe cutouts at the bottom and 2 PCIe cutouts on the side, which will depend on your desired GPU orientation. At the front, you can mount a pump or 2 SSDs. The top panel can be removed as well, and you can mount two 120mm fans. The case is also compatible with SFX and SFX LPSUs. The side bracket is used for mounting a 120, 240, or a 280mm radiator. Optionally, you can mount a 3.5-inch hard disk drive, but you have to scale down the radiator size. There's a silica gel as well, don't eat it. As for the front panel cables, there's a USB 3, HD audio, power switch, reset switch, and LED. And they're all bundled together, which is really nice. In the accessory box, there are 2 fans, which was very surprising. Surprisingly, it also has a 3-way fan splitter. Beneath the fan are the screws and zip ties, and the PCIe riser, which I could say is a complete package. As for the build, there are multiple configurations, but I will go with an AIO and a triple slot GPU. The first step is to unscrew the PSU shroud and then assemble some parts with the motherboard, install the CPU. I also prepared the AIO mounts, plug the 8-pin CPU power connector, and the 24-pin power connector as well. As for the RAM, I removed the lower profile RAM and replaced it with an RGB, just because. I also installed the fan extension cable, as I will have 4 fans, 2 from the top and 2 from the radiator. Screw the motherboard to the case. Next is to install the PSU to the PSU shroud. At this point, I also plugged the PSU connectors to the PSU itself. Hang the PSU to the case, screw the PSU shroud to the case. Although I called this out with geek, it will actually be easier if I stand the case upright rather than it lying on its side, since the PSU shroud will hang from the cutouts. Plug the extension cable, and of course, don't forget to turn on the PSU. Install the USB 3, HD audio, and front panel connectors to the motherboard. Before I proceed, I removed the bottom panel just so that I could have a good look at the PSU and later at the GPU. Remove the PCIe covers from the case, install the GPU, and if you have a long GPU like mine, you can route it from the front of the case, which is very nice. Screw the GPU to the case and plug in the PCIe power connectors. Assemble the AIO, put in thermal paste to the CPU, and then I mounted the cooler. Plug the AIO pump. At this point, the fan was pre-assembled as exhaust, so I converted it to intake. Plug the fan and ARGB cables as well. Screw the AIO to the side bracket. At first, I made it adjustable so that I could see if the fans will touch any cables. Looking at the top, it seems fine, and I then secured the radiator. Install the top fans using the push pin mechanism, which was a great experience in my opinion. And then I plugged the fans to the extended header. Close the top panel. I routed some of the PCIe power cables to the front. Close the bottom panel. Close the left side panel. Close the other side panel as well. And then close the front panel. At this point, it was time to test this. Okay, as for testing the case, it didn't post immediately. The issue was actually the RAM and the motherboard. So I did the usual unmount and remount, and it worked afterwards. While troubleshooting, I also removed the ARGB pins from the motherboard and didn't bother putting it back. And so my radiator was dark. As for the temps, while benchmarking Cinebench R23 for 30 minutes, the CPU temps averaged at 86.17 degrees Celsius with a max temp of 87.9 degrees Celsius, which is really good. As for the temps, while benchmarking FF15 for 30 minutes, the CPU temps averaged at 67.49 degrees Celsius with a max temp of 77.5 degrees Celsius. As for the GPU, the temps averaged at 71.75 degrees Celsius with a max temp of 73.4 degrees Celsius. The GPU hotspot temps averaged at 83.55 degrees Celsius with a max temp of 86.3 degrees Celsius. The GPU fan speed is at 75 to 76%. The CPU and GPU temps and the GPU fans are normal and acceptable. The GPU temps are pretty much comparable to A4H2O, but the CPU temps are really good thanks to the included exhaust fans. So I really have a lot of good things to say about the NR200P. For one, the temp performance was really acceptable even with Cinebench. Panels can easily be detached thanks to the push pins, and there is literally just one screw at the bottom. The instruction instructions are pretty clear on each path that you can take, and everything related to the case was taken into consideration. Next is the accessories included. Tempered glass in case you want a showcase PC. They included two 120mm fans, which definitely improves temperature performance. Fans can easily be attached thanks to its push-pin mechanism. Fan grills were also included, which was thoughtful. The three-way fan splitter is also a thoughtful gesture as well. There is an included riser. Although I didn't use it, I really appreciated it as you don't need to source one, albeit it's only PCIe 3. Also, there are dust filters in the case as well. Not an add-on unlike Geek G1 SE2. The bundling of switches and LED is a good touch as well. Really thoughtful. Lastly, all these things for 5,000 pesos or $100 only. Though realistically it is around 6,000 pesos. I just got lucky on the pricing for this case. Still, the pricing is really not bad. And even at that price, I can't imagine what I'm getting. Or maybe I just came from a really bad case review last month. As for the downsides, well, it is big. At 18 liters, this is 63% more in volume compared to the Lian Li A4H2O. But with that size, if you want air cooling, it can accommodate a 155mm CPU cooler as well. In general, this is a case that I can recommend easily, and the only caveat is again its size. I've reviewed quite a few ITX cases and I've never been this happy, and I think I made the right decision to build my editing rig on this case. If I'm going to give an award to this case, it will be the most thoughtful case that I've seen. Though with that, I still can't remove A4H2O out of the equation, and it is still the best engineered case that I've seen. As for the competitor of NR200P, well, I think the only better competitor for this is the Dan C4 SFX. If I were to ask, it is a more compact and flipped NR200P. Though for its improvement in space and engineering, I wouldn't pay for C4 SFX's premium, and I would just recommend the NR200P easily, especially since C4 SFX is not available in the Philippines. Okay, that's it for this build in this month. Do subscribe to the channel to see more SFF builds. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with my NR200P findings. Thanks for watching. Do like or dislike and subscribe for more unboxing and benchmarks. Bye!